All right, what's going on, guys? Let me know if you can hear me as you guys start popping in here. My name's Ben, Follygon. I'm going to be working on, one second here as I pull him up, or actually, you know what, I have a quick save file. And it would help if I had my screen showing. There we go. Alright, cool. So I'm going to be working on this guy again. I was working on him Tuesday night as well on stream. And I'm just going to be working on him a little bit more tonight as well. So if you excuse me for a moment while I get my chat window and all my references and whatnot pulled up. Actually, I don't have any references tonight for anything. Before I was just referencing some big muscle boys, but tonight I'm either going to be making some armor for him or maybe like a warhammer or something like that. I'm not entirely sure yet, but let me get just a couple of my brushes kind of set where I like for a sec, and we can start playing around with this dude a little bit more. So let me go ahead and, like I was saying, pop out that chat and get some other things set up for just one quick second here. So I was thinking about working on another character tonight instead, but I think it would be cool to show my progress on this guy that I did off of stream, as well as kind of move forward a little bit more on him as well. Alright, cool. So I think I'm going to start with either doing a weapon like I said or doing some armor pieces. I don't know exactly where we're going to go tonight, but I'm only going to be streaming for about an hour. I was messing around with his head and some other parts off of stream just to kind of show off what I've done. Since then, I also played around with his hands and his arms a lot. The chest that we were messing with a lot is pretty much the same. I made some minor changes to it, just kind of with the flow of these shapes, but it's all pretty much the same. Other than that, I just combined a bunch of pieces just kind of to clean some stuff up. You can kind of see how these all work here. See these pieces. So nothing too complicated, but as they all kind of combine, starts to add some complexity in that. Brendan Dickinson, what's going on, my child, my love child, and ex-HUD boy, our favorite regular, the HUD boy. Saw you streaming, popped in to say hi, but I can't hang around. I'm working on an overnight shift. That sounds terrible. You should just call in sick and work on some stuff here and hang out. This is where all the cool kids are. But thanks for thanks for coming in and saying hi at least before you leave us forever. That's okay. All right, so as I was saying, as some more people are kind of popping in here, gonna be maybe doing some armor or maybe a weapon. I was thinking like a warhammer or something like that would be pretty cool. Working at night sounds awful. Yes, it does, definitely. Third shift or late shift, any of that stuff is pretty bad. I'm not a huge fan. You're already there. That's awful. I guess you're on your phone. I've never really done any streaming stuff on my phone before, but I don't really watch a ton of streams either. You know, maybe like one occasionally for something I'm like super interested in, but that's pretty rare. So I think I'm just gonna make like a few tiny tweaks here and there. Nothing too crazy. And And excuse me, as always, for not being super great at like talking and working at the same time, because it takes lots of concentrations, like all of my concentrations, to do this. And I don't have a lot of concentrations to go around. Toodles. Peace out. Thanks for saying hi and everything and stopping in. Alright. So what are we thinking? Some armor, or maybe a warhammer or something like that, or maybe a giant like bastard sword or something kind of like that. I was thinking a hammer would be cool for this guy. He's like huge and muscular. I think he'd be a dude to wield a big old hammer. But as far as changes since the last stream, I said I was going to work on this guy off a stream for a little bit. I messed with his legs, kind of just like thickened up these entire shapes. Gave him some, whoa, let's see if we can select those. These pieces down here, just the offset of his ankles, kind of exaggerated pretty strongly, and they're really sharp shapes if you look at that. That's just like a low poly one. And this one I was a little bit lazier on because I couldn't Z-remesh it and get it where I wanted specifically. That's okay, we made it work. Usock, how's it going, dude? Glad to see you again. Faux show. This butt's got like a weird bit of a concavity going on in there. I think we need to fix that. Fix that booty. Just real fast before we go on. And while we're waiting, the people that are popping in can kind of let me know. What are you guys feeling? Some armor? Maybe a warhammer? That's kind of what I was thinking. Would be something cool to make for this dude tonight. I think a warhammer or maybe some other kind of big muscle boy weapon. I don't really know though. Just really quickly fix that concavity that we were having there. Just using my trim brush. Just real quick. Just push that shape back in. Or I'm sorry, pop it back out. It was already pushed in. And now I'm just using my smooth in combination with my alternate smooth, which is where you hold shift and then let go of it while you're smoothing. Only one more hour of my birthday, says Brendan. It's Brendan's birthday, guys. Tell Brendan happy birthday. Ooh, and maybe we'll make a one-handed axe, Robert says. Thanks for the tip on making the eyes. It's so much easier to merge the lower lips with the upper lips last. Thanks a lot. Oh, the lower lid of the eyelid. Yes, definitely. That's pretty much how I always do it now. You know, I merge that lower lid, and then I kind of smooth out that transition, and it still kind of keeps the shape, and then the top lid, keeping that separate, keeps the nice crease there as well. So it's got like the sharp, like the eyelid on top, like tucks up, rolls back into the skull, like in your eyelid. You have like these folds. And my nose itches really bad. And it makes like this really sharp transition, and it's hard to get that if you merge those two shapes together. So keeping them separate is the way to go. Two-handed axe, because we can. Well, he's pretty muscular, right? I feel like it would be something two-handed. Or maybe like a shield, like a big old great shield, and maybe that's like his weapon. Like he hits people with his shield. I don't know. It's like, maybe it's like got spikes on it. So I'm thinking, I'm liking the axe idea. So two-handed warhammer or axe. What do you guys think? I'm gonna start making it, and we'll figure it out as we go, I guess. So let's turn off perspective. And I guess we can just go ahead and start with the old shaftaroo, as they call it. I'm literally just going to duplicate his head here and use his head as the shaft. And I'm really just going to come down into my initialize palette. And we're going to do a Y cylinder 212. And that's going to look like this after we delete our subdivision levels. So 212 cylinder. Bring it down here, and here we go. So we got one subdivision. Like if I put this on 2, watch this. So I got 2 parts here. Keeping it on 1 though gives me 1, and then across this way it's 2. If I set both of these to 1 though and make a cylinder, guess what it's gonna make? A cube, because it's only got 1 sub div, and we want 2. So there we go. So we're gonna start with that, and just from there, I'm just gonna stretch it out with my transpose tool, so we can get a the beginnings of the handle of a hammer or axe. Just turned quarter century, the big old 2.5. Brendan, you're so old. You're an old boy. I'm only 14 though, so what do I know? Alright, so let's find a cool hammer or a cool battle axe. Let's see what we can find here. Boop. Let's see. I can't see my keyboard, so this is gonna be, where's that B key? Ooh, battle.net. There we go. Alright, we'll find a sick battle axe. Oh, check out this feature. This is pretty cool. ZBrush. We can do see-through mode. So, you know, you can work and you can use kind of images behind your UI as a way to kind of use it as a reference image or a modeling plane. But we will look through here. Actually, I want to look at like some Warhammers first. Not Warhammer the game. I don't want it to do that. What the heck? These are lame. Look how, these are so boring. Why would anybody, like, I guess it's probably effective, but in 20 minutes you're going to leave the stream because you're going to school. School's for, look, school's for losers. You should. No, don't listen to me. I'm a bad influence. This thing's kind of cool. That's kind of rad. Like, it looks like it's made for like pounding meat though, and pounding meat also sounds really weird coming out of my mouth. But it looks like it's used for tenderizing. You knew what I meant. This thing's kind of too futuristic looking for my taste. This is, I like this shape. This like mall kind of look. M-A-U-L. And again, I can't see my keyboard, and I'm not good. Ooh, Darth Maul. Yeah, like a mall. I don't know. At least that's what I think of when I think of the word mall. What the heck is this? This thing's kind of crazy. This guy. This is my hero right here. This is, if you guys don't know this guy, this is Johnny, the Warhammer expert. I'm just kidding. I have no idea who that is. Axe combined with hammer, maybe. That's not a bad idea. Hammer with Darth Maul's head on it. That is maybe a. Ooh. Here you go, just like this. Can you imagine Darth Maul's head on there? That'd be pretty. That's kind of cool. Kind of like that one. So right now we're just kind of like looking for some ideas to get us started, and actually I'm kind of liking that, and it reminds me of the hammer from Zelda Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, one of the two. You get a hammer in it. Might be Twilight Princess. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here, but I think we kind of have like a good idea and direction for where we want to go. Kind of like want that widening out shape like you see right here. And again, I'm pointing at my screen so you don't know what I'm pointing at. This like widening, sweeping shape that you see going on here. I like that. And then maybe the back of this can be more axe-like as well. So let's like go ahead and get crack-a-lackin'. And you just want to go home back as quickly as possible. Oh, you started to sculpt yesterday. Nice. What are you working on, Robert? Von Hohenheim from Full Metal. Nice. I love Full Metal. Von Hohenheim's pretty sweet too. I personally prefer, I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. The dude with, he's like the super buff. He's this guy. He's pretty much this guy, the super buff one, and he's got like the eye sparkle, and he's like way too fancy, way too adorable. He's cool though. So I'm just throwing in some edge loop completes, but that's right, cylinders are super finicky. So I'm just like gonna do each edge manually, and now when I smooth that, it'll be creased, which is pretty nice. We'll do that on the bottom as well. So now that's nice and smooth, and we have a perfect cylinder to kind of start working with here. And I haven't really messed with the diameter of this at all. It probably isn't going to be that big of a deal, but I think we're going to want to widen that out, just because his hands are so big for the character. It might be a little too narrow for him to grip. And we'll make this tall too. We'll make it about as tall as he is, because we want it to be like this BA weapon that he's using. And I think I'm gonna, we'll take him off to the side, and I will take a screenshot of him. So now he's stuck up over there, and maybe just like this. And I'm just pressing Shift S. We'll do something like that. So now he's up there and he's not going anywhere. And now I can work on this without keeping everything else on at the same time. Everything kind of starts to get in the way. It gets too busy. Alright, so let's see real quick here. So Von Hohenheim, I found out because I'm so bad at sculpting hair in ZBrush, I can model the hair in Blender, and after that refine it a bit in ZBrush. This works a lot for me. Yeah, that's totally a very popular option, I think. A lot of people kind of start stuff in a box modeling program and then go from there. I'm trying to pull up my pull-ups. I want to throw this over here so I can look at it and also then talk to you guys at the same time. Give me a second while I attempt to resize images in Windows. I am struggling. This monitor over there, the resolution's too small and the window's too big because I pulled it from this monitor. Zoom out, please. Thank you. Okie doke. Alright. And okay. So here is the picture. Not round. Doop. Boop. Okay, we're good. As long as we don't crash. Alright, so no perspective, thank you, we're good. I'm just gonna start how I always start things. It's a good old sphere. And we got 2 spheres, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do some things. I know it's a sphere and I could have used a cube, but it's okay, guys. We'll make it work. So real quick, I'm just deleting hidden closing holes and crashing. That's okay. We'll reload. We quick save, probably, maybe. we didn't really lose anything, so no problem. I was being a bad boy and closing holes 3 times on a sphere, which is not the smartest of ideas. Actually, I've noticed that while streaming and having some screenshots up here stuck to my canvas, that some weird crashes start happening during quick save, which is pretty annoying. So if that continues to happen, I'll have to clear my canvas, unfortunately. So, whoa, let's undo that. Make sure that we only have 1 poly group. Awesome. And we'll just kind of start playing around with some shapes. If there's any tools that I'm using that and you're like, the deuce is that, just let me know and I'll try to explain kind of what I'm doing and why. But other than that, I'm just gonna play around for a little bit and try and find some shapes. Sculpting hair is not easy. No, it's definitely not super easy, and that's because it kind of takes a good amount of time to do. But if you put in the time and the effort to do that, I think you definitely get rewarded for it in the end. Sculpting hair in ZBrush is a pain for me. I just never know how to start and how to actually sculpt it. I was thinking about modeling the hair before, but yesterday I actually tried it. I still try to figure out the easiest way to do it. Maybe I'll do a video on some hair sculpting at some point. I think I've done some stuff in the past. Maybe I haven't gone like super in depth. I think actually I know for sure I have done a quick little video on hair sculpting. I don't think I like got super complicated with what I was doing, but I've definitely talked about it in the past. If you guys want, I can attempt to find that video real quick and link it up in the chat just to make sure that you guys have it for later. But I'm just kind of like playing around and trying to find some shapes, and I kind of already did find some stuff, but again, I'm looking at this axe, and I'm not attempting to replicate this axe, but I am. That is so annoying. Gets stuck on the side of the window there. I am trying to like get this idea of a hammer that kind of tapers in, kind of like swoops in, and this is just very rough right now, but that's kind of what we want. And Dynamesh real low, and I could even, what I like to do is I like to ZBrush at the lowest possible level, and I even had dynamic on, which is why it was being sluggish. So if you're ever, let's try this. So it should do it. If you notice how kind of much that's lagging behind my, you can't really tell just by watching this how much it's lagging behind my pen, but it's being very laggy, and the reason that is, if you ever have something like that happening, come on down to dynamic subdiv and make sure that that is turned off, and look how much faster that's happening, like much faster, much better. So just make sure that dynamic is off down there. Daniel Allen, you made it this time. Welcome. Welcome. Using some free insert multi-mesh and still stuck. What I typically use for hair, and I'm not doing it right now, maybe we'll give this guy some luscious locks, is the curved tube snap brush. And it's just a tube. It's the most simple one, but you can modify it, make some changes to it. What I like to do is come down to my stroke palette, it's up here, stroke, and come into curve modifier, turn on size, and you can kind of Whoops, mess with this. Nah, poop. Pull this down. Not that one. We'll get it. Alright, one sec. While I, here, actually just reset that because I accidentally added an extra point. So you pull this down, just like that. This is what I like to do, size. Then when I click on this, it's going to kind of taper, and then I can use this for strands of hair and like thick clumps and whatever else. Just by turning on, you have to make sure this size modifier is on. If it's off, it's not going to work. Curved tube though, it's pretty sweet. And you can also do another little thing with this, which I learned about pretty recently actually. It's in your brush modifiers, and if you turn your brush modifier here, it's set to 8. That's the number of sides that that has, which is absolutely insane. So if I set this to 3, it's now like a pyramid or a triangle essentially. And this like blew my mind when I first saw this, and I love it. It's great. So if I set it to 4, obviously it would be a square. So it essentially determines how many sides that object is going to have. Something's wrong and you can't fix it. You might have the curves still on your mesh. There's a lot of things that could kind of go wrong with it, but without kind of seeing it, it would be a little difficult to diagnose. If you have any screenshots, or if you want to go to the ZBrush Discord channel, you can find a link to that on my channel. In the main, like in the links that I have there, there's like a link to my social media, and then there's a link to the ZBrush Discord, which I moderate as well. You can go there, and there's tons of people that'll just love to help you out. They're awesome, super helpful dudes. But something's wrong. The thing that's wrong is not in ZBrush. The thing that's wrong is with you. Is that what you're saying, I think? That's pretty funny. I definitely know what that's like. Okay. So like mul to x, mowl. Let's do, yeah, sweet. Let's duplicate this guy and take a little cube boy. And like I said, I don't really exactly know where we're going with this, but we'll figure it out together. Robert, great talking with you. Thanks again for the tips. Helped out a lot. Peace out. See you later, dude. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. Alright, so I think at this point we can go ahead and crease some edges around here. Get that nice and hard. Don't think about it too much. And then from there, I think what I'm going to do, subdivide this a bunch of times, delete those subdivs, and I'm holding the shift key, and if you look at my angle right there, it's telling me what angle I'm at. I'm going to slice that. And then I'm going to do the same thing, so it should be, what, 135 on this side. Select that. And then I can delete hidden, close holes, and mirror and weld. That's kind of a cool little shape we got going on there. And now we can kind of start to adjust this and figure out where we want to go here. And actually what I would like to do is kind of get something on here. Okay, so the quick save did not crash that time. So whatever's going on there is maybe not a problem with this. Maybe it's something else I'm doing. I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just inserting a cube here really quick, and I want this to kind of be a housing. It's kind of like holding part of this together. So it's not just kind of sitting on top. We want it to make a little bit more sense. And we can adjust size and spacing and all that here. Scale it in. I'm doing a lot of things with the transpose brush that maybe aren't when I use the move brush, I use the transpose tool as well, and there's like a lot of different functionality in it, and you kind of have to play around with it to kind of start to figure all of those out, but once you do, it's a really powerful tool. I just don't think it's super intuitive right off the bat, but once you do learn it, it's very, very powerful and very awesome, and I love it. Like one thing about it is I can just do a thing and like clip off an edge right there. That's pretty useful. I use that in 3D printing all the time, but I can do that from there as well. But of course I'm going to get like a weird shape there, and I could actually use a slice curve brush to correct that. But there are different uses for every tool in ZBrush. It's just a matter of figuring out the best way to use each one. And I crashed, so all my brush strengths got reset. Just want to pop that out a little bit. And a really easy way to like essentially make a change at a lower subdivision level. So a lot of the times people make big changes at a lower subdivision level. But if I sometimes want a change to happen on a lower subdivision level, I will go up to a higher subdivision level and make like a weird kind of change that seems like it doesn't make much sense here, like I'm like popping this out a little bit. But then if I step back down, delete those subdivs, and step back up, like it's going to end up being super smooth and no longer have that concavity. So it's like not maybe super intuitive, but they're just little tips and tricks that I've learned over the years messing with ZBrush and subdivision modeling, sculpting. All right, so let's grab our Accu curve, move, and play around with this. And of course, if your brush, like oh no, I can't make my brush any bigger than this. Shift click dynamic, and then your brush can get huge. Like I don't know why you would need a brush larger than this. Maybe you would, but what turning off dynamic does is my brush will always be this size. So it'll always be this size on the screen. But having dynamic on, it will always adjust to be this size of brush. So if I zoom in real big here, my brush is going to be a lot bigger. And if I zoom out, my brush will dynamically change size to fit that same part of the mesh. So that's what dynamic does. But yeah, I was just kind of now zoomed out, trying to get a look at the bigger picture. So that's a good way to do that. We had a good shape going there for a second. All right. I don't really like that. I'll probably end up just making it a little bit more boxy. I don't want it to have like this, I don't want it to be fancy in a sense of like having this crescent blade on it. No, he's a big burly dude. He wants the thing that like hits hard, hits good. He wants the thing that hits good. So again, just trying to create some interesting shapes. I could like bevel these edges later, but for now I can just auto group those and keep them separate. If I Z-remesh these, or if I just remesh these in general, it'll be super easy for me to bevel those edges, and I might just attempt to manually do it with a brush later, some kind of polish brush or something. That's not super easy though, by any means. All right, and then let's kind of do something like this. So again, this is like blocking out kind of where we want everything to go. So we're just kind of getting an idea of everything. Like I don't like the shape of this right now, but I think as we continue to go, we'll figure it out more. Maybe it's just like it's too fat or it's too skinny or something. All right, and up here we can do some kind of end cap. And we'll add some stuff to this as well and mess with it. If you look here, the geometry on this thing isn't super great, so I could initialize this, but real quick, let's run a bevel around the edge and just kind of see what happens. I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna want to cooperate. Yeah, if you look at that, that's not super nice, but maybe we can make it work. If I try to do it up here, it's gonna oh wow, I am super surprised that that worked actually. Normally that would like to go along the middle edge there, but it worked out. All right, so topology wise, not super great, but visually it's working. I'll have to keep that in mind for insert cubes, that they do like to be beveled at least a little bit. Normally the topology on those things is so crappy, makes it a bit difficult to work with if you're wanting to use your Z modeler brush. Not a huge fan. All right, so I'm just gonna keep plowing here. And again, sorry if I'm a quiet boy for a minute. So I could have Z modeled this kind of transition here. It's just quicker for me to duplicate it though and throw it up there. It's just, there's a ton of different ways to do everything. It's just a matter of finding the way that works for you, the way that's kind of not necessarily always the fastest way, but I like to think in terms of efficiency and what I'm going to be using that thing for later, and does it really matter? Like, is this going to cause me trouble down the road? That sort of thing. So like with this, I could align it perfectly by like using some unify and symmetry options, but instead I'll kind of mess with it and find out what works. And want to kind of mess with the shape of it. All right, let's try a little pull in here. Whoop. Not perfect, but it will work for what we need. And I'm just gonna slice off the end. You can't use any of your slice brushes unless you have no subdivision levels, so keep that in mind. And I'm just going to duplicate it real quick and kind of mess with it for a sec. Things are getting probably too rounded at this point. Too rounded for what we're, kind of like the shape language that we're going for. So again, he's like this big, blocky, muscular kind of dude. So you kind of want to try to carry that through in everything that you do. And it's okay to like have rounded shapes and stuff in there, but you want the general idea to kind of be the same for the whole thing. So let's see here. This way should be along my symmetry plane. This should be the left, and we just crashed. Yeah, I saw that coming. You can like feel right before ZBrush crashes, it'll like do something a little slower than it normally should, and then all of a sudden crashes. That's okay though. I think we're going in the wrong direction there anyway. Let's eat some lettuce. Let's try something else. Same basic idea, but let's get it a little bit blockier. So we're starting with a sphere, that's fine. I'm just cheating and using my move brush. And all right. Should work this time. If we use the correct tool. No subdivision levels, can't use your slice brushes with them. And I was on the wrong side. Ah, there we go. Need the hammer facing towards me. Okay. So I'm going to delete hidden, mirror, and weld. See what that looks like, but we're going to close holes on it. Get that kind of shape there. And of course, let's do it over here as well. And let's do it up against there. Up against that cut. It doesn't have to be amazing or perfect or anything, but kind of gives us this cool kind of shape. And I think I'm going to bring it up and squish it down a little bit. That's probably fine. And I actually kind of wouldn't mind using this shape or a similar shape for the shaft of the hammer. So something a little bit blockier. Maybe, let's see, whoops, not deformation, initialize. Maybe if we increase the sides of this guy, something more like that, and then the hard shapes are preserved, and we kind of have those hard shapes similar to this. I kind of just like the shape language that's going on here. And actually this is, so we would need, I think one more side would do it, right? Yeah, because then we have a flat here. And then from here, I will need to undo that, duplicate it, redo it, and the reason I did that was because I want to be able to line that back up with that piece. I won't be able to do that unless I know where it is. Show you guys a cool thing here in a second. So this is on the, because I used the initialize palette down there, this is now on the 000 point in world space in ZBrush. So now, cool thing's gonna happen where I can use symmetry, which is always a pretty cool thing. Hotkeys, that's it. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the previous comment. You're pressing so many things. How did you figure out all the controls on this? Looks super complicated. Just lots of practice, I guess. Just using it a lot. There are a lot of things to be pressed. but I don't think it's any more than you could learn to do. I think you could definitely figure it out. It's complicated, but it's not like the craziest thing in the world. And what do I want to do here? Do I want to delete this edge? Can I delete this edge? I think there's like so many options in here, deciding on whether you pick a point or edge or face. Look at all these. It's like overwhelming. But there's really only, I use most of them, but really it's not as complicated as it looks. Let me try to delete this edge. What's gonna happen, ZBrush? You're not gonna let me, are you? This is an important edge. It makes a quad. If I delete, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Rewind. How many sides do you have? Do you have, you have 6 sides. I'm sorry, you have 8 sides. Octagon. Fudge. I want to do this, but I also want this to be like perfect, a perfect shape. Like it's gonna be a little off. Maybe we can make it work. Let's just grab our Z modeler and crease some stuff. So you're asking, like, how did you learn all these hotkeys and stuff? Well, a good way is to make your own hotkeys. So, like, I have a hotkey. I press Control-Shift Q. That pulls up my little menu here. And I've actually been thinking about making, like, giving away my UI on my Gumroad page for free, and you guys can just download it. And then I would make a video where I show you guys how to use my user interface. My user interface has like a lot of stuff, but I would like give you the basics of like all the hotkeys and controls, and like I think my interface is pretty intuitive. Like the number pad is all of my brushes. So brush number 1, brush number 2. So I just press the number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And this one doesn't have one, unfortunately, but you get the idea, hopefully. So that's like the basics there. I tried to make it intuitive for myself, you know, but I am not always incredibly intuitive in the things that I do. But, so yeah, maybe like if people feel like having a UI from someone that kind of uses it already would be helpful. Maybe I'll do something like that. So with smoothing, I think that's gonna, you can't really tell the difference between with and without smoothing. I can. If you like look at, see that hard edge? And if I turn smoothing on, a little bit softer. So if I subdivide this, it'll pretty much be smooth. You can see the difference here. But I have the edges creased in such a way to preserve the edges that I need. So this is going to be a little bit of a different handle. And now we're looking at trying to, turn off our Z symmetry. We're looking at attempting to align this back up with that piece. And we're looking at these two pieces, and it's like, I guess we could eyeball it, or geometry. So we're in the tool palette, and then we're coming down to the geometry subpalette. Size, or I'm sorry, position, And you can see the X position is 0.404 blah 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 blah, and the Z position. Unfortunately, I cannot copy paste in ZBrush to my knowledge. So I'm going to place this piece in this piece's position. So Y position is 40847. So 40847, boop. That's the correct height. It's not really a big deal though, so that one's not super important. And then this is 28276. 28276, bam. Turn on transparency, you'll see it's right there inside of it perfectly. And I can actually now come down to the size palette, and if I wanted to make it, don't crash on me. If I wanted to make it the exact same size as this, I could copy the size numbers as well. But because I don't really care, I'm just going to scale it up. And I'm just eyeballing it with my transpose tool, and that'll be good enough. I just wanted the height to essentially be right about as tall as the character. So a lot of people complain about ZBrush not having like the actual units like Maya or Max or that kind of stuff. It does have them. You just have to know where they are and how to interpret them. The idea with ZBrush is that it's made for artists, and speed is kind of like the name of the game, speed and efficiency, where it's like you're interacting with an art form and less of a 3D modeling package, although it has become more of that in just like over its evolution. So now it's got more of those kinds of things. With the next version of ZBrush, we will be getting a 3D gizmo tool, but I actually really like the transpose tool, and I hope that means that this is not going away. This still better be a thing in the next version of ZBrush. I'd be very sad to see that go. I love the transpose line. Lets me do all sorts of crazy, cool things, and I use it all the time. Cool. So I was thinking about maybe doing like some kind of quick start to ZBrush series, where I would kind of like give you my UI and then kind of run through a lot of the basics. The problem is that there's like really great tutorials out there, I think, for getting people into ZBrush and learning all that stuff. Maybe there could be like some better, here's what you like absolutely need to know. But unfortunately, there's just like so much that you need to know that it might be a bit heavy of a series, and I'm not sure if I could even give justice to all the things that you kind of need to start out when you're learning. And I'm not even sure if I would be very good at doing something like that, simply because I've been using ZBrush for a while. It's kind of like if something's second nature for me and I'm going over it for somebody else, like it's a little bit harder to kind of realize, oh, that person doesn't know how to do that. That person doesn't know that when they start ZBrush for the first time, that they need to draw an object on the screen and then click edit, like, or the T key, like, and if you don't, you end up having this happen with all these characters over here being like drawn on the screen, or models, or whatever you got rocking. So I don't know if I would be super great at doing something like that. I might in the future, but nobody's really asking for that kind of thing right now, so I think we're kind of good. Plus, ZBrush is pretty expensive software. If you do want to get it for cheaper, then what's it cost now? I think it's like $850, maybe 800. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know. But they do have third-party retailers where you can, like, they have official third-party retailers that they let sell the software, and they sell it for cheaper, and essentially they just make less profit off of their sale than ZBrush. But in turn, like, more people maybe go there to buy it from them. But honestly, I don't think that's the case. I think most people buy it direct from Pixelogic. I believe, if I remember correctly, my copy was like $650, which is like $200 cheaper, maybe. But that's $200 more in my pocket. So I would definitely recommend buying from a third-party retailer. I believe the name of the retailer that I got mine from was, I want to say it's like Nova Edge or Noveg. If anybody's like super interested, I can look it up, and I'd be able to find my email from them from a while back. I recently had to look it up because somebody else was asking about it. But yeah, so if anybody's like, I want to buy ZBrush, but I don't want to spend all my money on it, maybe that would be a sweet option. Or if someone in the future is watching and wants to know, and I'm still alive, go ahead. You can ask me. Just, I want you to, what's going to be the new thing? Like, instead of tweeting at someone, you can, I don't even use Twitter really. You can fleek me. That'll be the new thing. That'll be the new social media thing. Fleek me, dude. Fleek me with your questions, and I'll fleek back. You know, tell you, give you them sweet links. Fleek them right at you. The new social media phenomenon sweeping the world. Fleekster. Fleekville. Fleek your friends. Fleek your coworkers. Fleek everyone. This is Fleekville, dude. You can fleek whoever you want. All right, what do we want to do with this? Like a poke on Facebook? Maybe. Poke on Facebook is like pretty sexual, so I think fleek is like totally okay. If Facebook has poke, then I can have fleek on my social network. Fleekster. This axe is like, I'm not liking this shape. Let's see here. Look at it in perspective. This is like too short, stubby. This needs to be like, scale this up a bit. Maybe too much bit. And this is like skewed. Did I do that just now? So here's a cool thing you can do. Like, if I'm looking at this and you can see that it's slightly tilted this way. You might not be able to tell, but if I click here with my transpose line, rotate, it's gonna go perpendicular to its normal, and I turn on rotate up here, hold shift and move this while holding shift. Look how it's perfectly straight now. So unstraight, straight. So now when I attempt to grow this out, it's gonna stay perfectly straight and it's not gonna slant like it was doing before. So that's what was going on there. It's just a quick, easy way to kind of fix that. Now we can mess with this again. I don't like that face. That's just, I'm not okay with this. Alright, I would like to taper this down into something, but because this is not Z modeled, I don't have polygons. If I Z-remesh this, it's going to end up looking like garbage, but I'll show it to you real quick just so you can see what it looks like. Wow, that's worse than I thought it was going to be. That's pretty bad. I could draw Z-remesher guides along this, but it's still not going to give me the result that I want. So let me think. I could just rotate it and attempt to line some. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so check this out. Okay, so we'll do, so 2 clicks. If you come up into your preferences, whoops, move the window. That's okay. ZBrush, fix your window UI crap that you got going on. This white line up here, if I click up here, stupid things happen. So transpose. I'm sorry, transpose. Nope, it is transpose. See this? Rotation steps? So I clicked that while holding shift, essentially. I was able to rotate my piece 2 times. So because that's set to 4, each click is 22.5 degrees, so 2 is 45 degrees, and 4 would be 90. If you hold control over anything in ZBrush, it tells you a little bit more about it. It says, this setting defines the degrees that ZBrush will snap to while pressing shift and moving the end of the transpose action line, essentially what I just said. If set to 10, the transpose line will snap to every 36 degrees of rotation. That's actually wrong. It actually is lying in here. So it's saying that if I set this to 10 right now, it will snap every 36 degrees. That is incorrect. It is not 10 to a ratio of 360. It is actually to a ratio of 90, which is why 4 rotation steps snaps 22.5 degrees instead of whatever 360 divided by 4 is 90, I guess. So it is not x over 360. It is, or the other way around. It is 4 going into 90. So if I were to set this to, say, 9 rotation steps, now when I rotate this, it'll snap to 10 degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 7, 8, 9, 90. It's math. ZBrush. Why you lying? Why you lying in here? That's just rude. Anyway, I use this for some very specific stuff for like 3D printing, which I won't like talk about forever. But this is kind of the math that's happening behind here. So 45 degrees is what I have it set to right now. And what I'm going, this isn't gonna do what I want. That's okay, we'll make it work. So essentially I'm gonna like try to line this up and do some things, but because it's beveled here, the corners are not gonna line up and be weird and maybe we can make it work. I can't make it work. I lied. Are you good at math? Maybe, like certain maths. I hated calculus more than anything. Statistics was like the easiest thing in the world for me, while everyone else I knew hated it. I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was like a math that was like actually helpful for the rest of my life, something that I could actually use, as opposed to everything else. I use math a lot, but I wouldn't say that I'm particularly good or bad at math. Most math, all I need is a calculator. Really, like, not the end of the world. What am I trying to say? I don't think I'm good at math. I don't think I'm good at most things. That's okay. Let's rotate you. Shift R renders. So sometimes I'm holding Shift and I'm also pressing R to switch to my rotate, like that, and I'll render something on accident, which is kind of annoying. But you're like seeing this amalgamation of shapes right now, and it'll hopefully make sense here in a sec, what I'm trying to do, but it's really not gonna work, because I even did this on the wrong side like a big dummy. That's okay though. Another thing that ZBrush likes to do with its rotation is if you rotate something 180 degrees, what's a good way to show this? So this button is facing the camera, but if I rotate it 180 degrees this way using, while holding Shift and using the transpose tool to get it perfectly 180 degrees, it likes to flip that object. So it'll rotate, and then it like snaps real quick up. It's like super annoying. I don't know why it does it. I don't know like what's happening under the hood there. So if anybody knows the answer to that one, that'd be great. Alright, so let's try to line that up. It doesn't have to be awesome or perfect. I mean, you can I don't know if you guys know this. You can kind of zoom in pretty far in ZBrush, depending on the scale of all your objects. It's not really necessary though. Transparency on. Mirror and weld now. Coolio. Sure, let's go with that. And duplicate. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So I just rotated that a little strangely, but I think I got it to work. And turn you off. It like scaled that in a tiny bit when I rotated it, as you can see there. That's okay though. So if you remember me doing that whole clip thing with the transpose line, that'll be important here in a sec. So like I can click here and click in there and see how it like clips in there. That's pretty cool. Like, hey, that's pretty cool. Clip in there. Click on this side, clip in there. Ooh, we're doing things now. Alright, do it on this side. Clip that in. Clip that in. Clip that in. And these should be even, but they are not. Not sure. It's being a little weird. Should be like exactly the same. That's okay. Turn off. We'll merge these together. Turn that off so I can see what's happening. Move that up. Maybe a little less up. So I've kind of been zoomed in here for quite a while, so maybe you can't tell exactly where I'm going with this, but I'm almost done. So you'll see here in a sec. Fret not. All your questions will be answered soon. Wham, bam, slam. So that, like rotating this 180 degrees, you can't tell with this, but it probably spun it. A way you can get that to not happen, that thing that I was talking about where you rotate the pen 180 degrees and it'll flip, you can hold shift and rotate it 90 degrees and then rotate it the rest of that 90 degrees and it will not do the weird flippy. The weird flippy. It's a bit of a complex shape, maybe too complex. I had it facing the other way at first, just kind of as a kind of decoration, and maybe we'll keep it that way, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Decorative or have it on the receiving end of damage. And I can, so right now, solo mode, that's kind of what I have a hotkey for it, the G key on my keyboard. Turn solo mode on and off. I would highly recommend that you make a shortcut for solo mode. It's something I use all the time. It's very, very helpful. Kind of looks like a Lego head. Then maybe keep it, I don't know about Legos, maybe. maybe keep it more decorative then. Let's switch our material real quick. Let's rotate this guy. Keep our perspective on. And scale can kind of be messing with our head here a little bit. Like maybe this axe is a shitty placeholder. I'm gonna turn it off. I think it's kind of messing with our perception of the rest of this. So let's you stupid thing, stay on. Let's scale this down. So he's got like this big war hammer, right? If you're using a big war hammer, it needs to be like evenly weighted. So if it has this huge thing on one end, it's gonna have to have something huge on the other side as well to kind of leverage that. You wouldn't want an unbalanced hammer, now would you? So I keep pressing this, I keep clicking this white circle here. That snaps my transpose to the center of that object, which allows me to move it in such a way. That quick save scared me. Move it in such a way to scale it and have it scale uniformly with any object that I'm messing with. So we got this. Maybe we just have another one on the other side. Maybe we have an axe. So it's like maybe primarily, you know, depends what you're going up against. You gonna axe it, or you gonna smash it? What you gonna do? Hacks or smash? Kind of look like a Lego head. Decorative. I think not good for that man. So I think you're saying use it, not decorative. Use it as the attacking side. Correct me if I'm misinterpreting though. Has a different style. Who's that buff guy on the left? Smash. Yes, Hulk smash. The buff guy on the left is, excuse me while I turn off a bunch of garbage. Stuff that I was playing around with. This is the dude we're making the weapon for. I was working on him on Tuesday, so 2 days ago on that stream. And yesterday I released a video talking about how to sculpt a hand. I sculpted my own hand, and tonight we are working on him some more. We got a bunch of materials here that we can feel like using something a little bit more specular right now. So yes, we got this big burly dude, and my thought was to either create some armor tonight or maybe start working on a weapon. So we went with a weapon, and now we're kind of playing around with the idea of a warhammer or a giant axe, maybe like a two-headed hammer or axe. So I was thinking maybe one side could be a hammer, one side an axe. Do some kind of combination there. I don't know though, we're just kind of playing with some shapes and stuff, and I'm kind of telling you guys some tips and tricks of the trade. Bunch of stuff that I have learned. So right now, I think maybe I might, let's see. I want to ask something. Can I ask you using IG? You're still working on your assignment. Is there like a picture that you want to show me to look at? I'm still working on your, you're still working on your assignment. I believe you said you were working on some kind of paper or something that you were writing about ZBrush, but you use Blender, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is correct. Cool. Yeah, go ahead, ask away, please. I'm not sure how you're gonna ask me with Instagram though. The YouTube comments are here. I'll pull them up over here so you guys can see them. So coming in, the YouTube comments are like, oh, timestamps. Yes, please. YouTube comments are like super, or the YouTube live chat is super weird. I can't, oh my god, what the is this? I can't, I don't think anybody can post links to stuff. So if you want to like replace the dot in .com or whatever the link is with like the word dot, I can, or just like remove it and put a space, I can like, I'm pretty clever. I'm not no slow turtle. I can figure it out. If you want to link it that way, I can pick my emoji skin tone. Well, that's awesome. Good on you, YouTube, being all inclusive there. Not just yellow. I'm not yellow. I feel I want to be a peach boy. I'm a little peach boy. Why didn't they change though? I'm so offended by these. Honestly, look at these shapes. They all look like the head of a penis. Like, what were they thinking? They all look like dickheads. Sad fucking dickheads. Why did they do this? Who thought that was a good idea? I'm sad about this. But yeah, dude, if you have a question or anything, you can link it to me that way. Or I always recommend the ZBrush Discord channel. That's a great place to send those. But yeah, if you have any other method to do that. Sorry about the dickheads. Now, once it has been seen, it can't be unseen. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for the night. We can mess with this more tomorrow night, or I'm gonna be super busy this weekend, so hopefully I find some time this weekend to show you guys some more stuff. But if not, there will definitely be more streams next week. You're already on Discord. Perfect. If you're on the ZBrush Discord, actually let me know your username and I can personally message you. That'll probably be the easiest way. But let me open up Discord here. So if you're not in the ZBrush Discord, I can post the link to that. But yes, so here is the ZBrush Discord. We got admin Benjamin Follygon, that's me. I'm playing ZBrush, look at that. And then we have a bunch of beautiful people in here chatting away, sharing some cool work. I haven't opened this up in a minute. Some 3D printing stuff as well. All sorts of great stuff in here. Tons of people. There's like over 100 people online right now. So yeah, definitely come in here. If you don't know how to do an image or anything, I think you click this guy and then you can kind of grab, my mouse is like freaking out. You can grab an image that way and attach it, or you can USAC. There you are, look at that, you already added me. So I can, look at this, look, we're about to make magic happen. Magic. I can't spell magic right here. It's beautiful. Look, the connection's been made. We're best friends. It's happened. So yes, please ask me your question, and I will actually, if you want to post your image right now, probably be easier if I could just do this. But other than that, we will call it quitso dunzo on this boy, on Muscle Boy, and the beginnings of some kind of axe weapon. I really like the way this guy's back turned out. It's pretty simplified, and I just like the forms that I got going on there. The front is like still too messy for my liking, with all the ribs and the obliques and the serratus muscles all working together here. There's just a lot going on, and it looks super busy. Hopefully we can fix a bunch of that here, though, over the next few sessions. Whoopsies. Alright, so let's see what we got here. USAC. So yeah, dude, go ahead and send me your picture and your question whenever you can. But until then, I will see you kids next time. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for asking all them awesome questions and helping me out, participating, playing some ZBrush. Sorry about the little dickhead emoticons. That's just in my brain now forever, and yours too. So that's always fun. But yes, I'll see you guys next time, and I'll let you know before I stream. And look out for next week's video. It's gonna be a good one, and it's probably gonna involve this dude, or maybe something else that I have in the works. So I'll see you guys. Thanks for coming.